Hi everyone. I know it's been a while again, not that long, but I really am trying to post consistently, like at least every other day. So I have to speed things up in some way, but here's the thing. I'm sick. Not COVID, just some kind of chest cold. I think I'm already getting over it, but ironically, that's when I decided that I finally had enough energy to do some kind of recording. So here we go. First, let's talk about that news. You know the news. Come on. You know what I'm talking about. I've realized I don't want to get into super polarizing topics on my channel, not because I don't think that that's important to do, because it is, but, and I don't know if you know this about me, I'm sensitive and I genuinely can't handle people coming at me with the kind of heat that people tend to when they're behind a screen. So I don't really see myself making any more politically charged videos. That said, I have actually been very heartened by a lot of the unity that I've seen on this issue. I understand why a lot of people are wary of such unity, because it is very common for certain people who have it better than other people to get enough progress to benefit them and then drop the whole thing, having sort of used those other people and then left them behind. I get people being afraid of that kind of thing when we start talking about things like class consciousness, but you have to admit that there's something really optimistic about seeing people from both sides of the aisle come together on this issue and agree in unison that the American healthcare system is broken and that it is barbaric to its citizens. So on that, I am really glad to see so many people agree. I'm glad to see certain talking heads with a lot of money and a history of pitting certain people against other certain people experiencing some pushback on this, because I think it's time that we all started paying attention to those in our lives who tell us that we shouldn't complain or shouldn't, you know, criticize certain systems. Waiting to see how the case shakes out. I don't know what we're gonna find out. But as far as my opinions on the matter, if you know me at all, you shouldn't have to ask. That's all I'll say. So with that out of the way, Twice has made their comeback for the second time this year. I really needed it. I'm still going through it. I'm gonna do an official review, but for now, let's just say I like what I hear. I don't know if I'm gonna end up loving every single track the way that I did with the last one from this year with Youth, but I think I've liked what I've heard so far, just from browsing it. Other topics that are on my mind this week: the Internet Archive is in serious danger. And for me, that means not just losing the old internet, Web 1.0, with all of the old websites on it, which not too hard to back up, and I'm sure people are working on that. And I think the GeoCities personal websites that everybody had have been archived for a while across different sites. But the Internet Archive actually has copies of old magazines, newspapers, you know, video, books. I don't think a lot of people realize how much actually good stuff is on there. Like, it's not just, you know, ancient newspapers from 1910. No. You can literally go on there and pull up archives and archives of old Photoshop magazines from like 10 years ago. Like, we're not talking about anything that's super obsolete. I have so many magazines I read when I was a kid, like Wizard and Omni and Fantasy. They're all up there. And I realized that if the Internet Archive, if the Wayback Machine and all of that is in trouble, that stuff might go away, and I don't even have the hard drive space to grab everything that I would want. So I urge you to look into this issue, because I don't know what exactly is going down or how much we're in danger given the government is going to change here shortly. God, I really hope that if Elon does anything good in his life, it would be to preserve this particularly nerdy side of the internet, because somebody's got to care. It's actually really important. I'll do a whole video on that later. Just wanted to make you aware of the situation. As for my dolls in Second Life, BEENICORN is still progressing as planned. I have doll number 17 completely meshed, and she is in paints right now. I'm proud of her. I don't know when she's going to come out, but I will do an update video on all of that as well. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think I have officially hit the point where streaming services are too costly for me. And as somebody who remembers the era of the iPod, I thought, you know, why not get one? So I actually wasn't expecting them to be as prevalent still as they are. You can easily get an iPod of many different kinds for under $100. I happened to find an actual vintage one for like $30. Got it on the way. I'm excited. It's a 3rd generation iPod Nano. I've already got a pink acrylic case for it coming. Didn't even realize I would be able to find one. The reason why I'm excited about this is that I think I stopped engaging with music in the same way I did when I was younger after streaming became popular. For me, it wasn't choice paralysis, but having access to everything meant that there was no effort involved, so there was no investment involved. So I didn't really feel pushed to listen to stuff. And as somebody who suffers from depression, sometimes not having that push means not doing the thing at all. So I was never listening to new music, and I just didn't really have the same, like, ownership feelings that I used to have over the music that I loved when I was younger that I would put on my MP3 players. So I thought, why not try to give myself that experience again? And so far so good. I have my whole catalog ready to drop on it. I really think I'm going to enjoy having music on me that's a little more inconvenient. And if that sounds weird, I would have easily, you know, bought into like a cassette system or portable CD player if I had the space for all of the media. I just don't. So iPod makes more sense for me right now. If you're asking why not just use your phone, that's what I've been doing, but there's something very frustrating about using the phone for music, because not only does it have the potential to disturb me or upset me if something pops up while I'm just trying to listen to my music, but it doesn't feel the same. I don't know what it is. I think that having to take the time to pick the music that I want, and also there's limited space, so having to pick what I need means that when it's time for me to actually put that music on, there's something about it. I feel like I earned it. I feel like I have to listen to it. I have to put in further investment because I already did the work. I think that's going to be really good for me. It might help with a lot of things that have been wrong. I think music is really important to a lot of people, and if you've had it at one point and then you don't have it later, it can be something you're missing and you don't really realize. So I'll make a video when it gets here. One other thing, I know people have talked about dopamine fasts a lot. I've tried it in various forms. Lately, I've just been making an effort to watch at least one movie a day. It's been helping a lot. I would say over the last year, I've watched, before this week, maybe 5 movies. I just couldn't ever seem to feel like I wanted to sit down and commit to, you know, a 1.5, 2 hour thing when it wasn't something I was really, really interested in. But I decided I want to try and train my attention span to try and get up to that golden 2-hour window of attention that we all seem to have had before and have lost or have never had in the first place. I think having to pick one movie and knowing it's just going to be the one, and turning off devices and distractions and just sitting and committing to watching one movie has made it feel like a really rewarding thing instead of something that I had to do or that I should do. And I'm watching a lot of good movies this week. One other thing that I'm doing is if I get the urge, I'll just log off of everything, basically turn off the internet, and then just spend the hour doing things that don't have like a high stimulation value, like no YouTube, no games, no chatting with people, no looking at my phone. I do allow myself to eat if I'm hungry, but for the most part, I would suggest trying not to stimulate yourself that way either. And just kind of seeing where the hour takes me. Usually end up cleaning some. I pet my cat a lot. I really like having the excuse to just slow down and, do nothing. Because I think that I have, for the last 10, 15 years, been way too easily bored, and I don't like it. It's very unpleasant to be bored all the time just because you have been used to constant stimulation. I'm sick of it. And as somebody with ADHD, I don't think that it's a healthy way to go through life, only being able to engage with something when you can hyper focus on it, because that means you can only ever engage with things that you really like. And that would explain why I've been miserable. So I think improving my ability to just be mindful and enjoy the moment and find things to appreciate has really allowed me to push that boredom feeling away a lot more. So I will make a video on that later and report back on it. On the Kiss dolls, I had started a brand new one as sort of a personal project. I'm still going to finish it and I will show it off, but I realized after a few outfits that while the very dynamic pose was fun and very artistic and it works with the backgrounds well, I don't want to draw a million outfits on this body because it's very complicated foreshortening and perspective, and it's just not fun. The whole point of these dolls is that it's supposed to be fun to make, overall, for me at least. And it was not as fun as I wanted it to be. It wasn't giving me that same satisfaction. One piece of clothing takes a while, and obviously you can see I haven't even painted any yet. I mostly just sketched them. So I'm going to start a new doll, but that's one of the joys about this, is that you can kind of bounce back and forth on different projects and it doesn't really matter. I don't really have any information on the new doll yet, but I'm going to make a video on it, so stay tuned. Lastly, I've been playing this game called Liminal Universe. I love it. I realized that a lot of these references in this game are references to the Backrooms, which is a series that I haven't actually finished, and it's still going, so I need to catch up. But I will say, I was worried that this game would be frightening or creepy or uncomfortable for me, but I think one of the reasons why liminal spaces attract a certain subset of people, me included, and that those same people tend to like a lot of these same very nostalgic, chilled out aesthetics and, environments and art pieces, is because, in a way, even though you know that a liminal space is going to have that creepy emptiness to it and that uncertainty and the unknown to it, it's sort of understood outside of the Backrooms mythos, where you obviously are not, super safe. In most liminal spaces, they're sort of understood to be nothing else there. And it's a place where you can be lonely, but calm, because you know that nothing is going to jump out of nowhere and scare you or show up and, hurt your feelings. It is a place where you are lonely, but you're probably safe. And if that sounds depressing to you, it is, but it's also something that I think a lot of people can understand. As I played this game more and more, I was just blown away by how comforted I was at the scenery and how excited it made me, but just how calm and safe I felt, even though it is very creepy and spooky at times. it's cathartic, and I don't know how else to explain it, but I'll make a whole video about that too. Um, that's what I've been up to. My throat is scratchy. I don't feel good. I feel sick, so I'm gonna lie down and pick my movie for the day. Please take care of yourself because you deserve it, and I will hopefully check in with another video again very soon. Peace. Bye.